Hey there, welcome. It's Coffee with the Goose. I talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, and irritating. And I think you'll find this show very, very interesting, if not painful, because we're going to talk about our eternal destiny. No, not going to talk religion. Okay, just stick with me. Got to have some coffee, though. As you know, my coffee very strong, like my opinion. And of course, I got to have some creamer in there to make it sweet, just like me. All right. They say there are two things that are eternal: death and taxes. You can escape, maybe you can escape taxes for your entire life, but you ain't going to escape death. Father Death is going to come get you, and he's going to get me too. That's the fate of all of us. And we don't know when or how or whose fault or any of that, but it's going to happen. So, you're just going to have to accept it. I read a story recently about a number of Major League Baseball players who died during their career. Some of them on the baseball field and others to off-season, what have you. And I went through the list, and many of them are just fascinating and weird and hard to explain. So let's get started, shall we? First of all, Ray Chapman was a player for the Cleveland Indians. I think it was 1920. He was hit in the head by a pitch thrown by Carl Mays, and he passed away that day. Now, that's the only time that's happened in the major leagues, but in the minor leagues, that's happened more than half dozen times. And when you think about it, it's surprising it doesn't happen more often. Baseball can be a very violent game. Let's start with Win Mercer, a Detroit Tigers player. This happened in 1903, and I looked at the story, and you can look it up if you like to get details. It's a very mysterious case. He died by suicide, inhalation of illuminating gas. What is illuminating gas? Illuminating means light. It's for a light fixture. And apparently suicide, but when you look at the story, some really mysterious, eerie things happened, and I'm not sure they really could figure out the real nature of what happened, even though he wrote a suicide note to his mother. But there's a strange way to die. Win Mercer of the Tigers. Chick Stahl of the Boston Red Sox was only 34 years old when he died of suicide by ingestion of carbolic acid. Now, that's some dangerous stuff. I'm not sure what it's used for. This was in 1907. But again, a mysterious story. Death in any form is sad, suicide even more so. But Chick Stahl's death in 1907, yes, it was suicide, but a strange, really strange incident. Going back to 1990, Bo Diaz of the Cincinnati Reds, or at least their minor league system, he died. 37-year-old Bo Diaz died when a satellite dish fell and hit him on the head in his home. A satellite dish hits him on the head and kills him. Strange. Here's one that's even stranger. You don't hear very often. It happens to several different players. Jeremiah Gonzalez was 33 years old, playing in the Milwaukee Brewers farm system in 2008. This actually happened in Japan. He was killed by a lightning strike, okay? This happened again to another person, actually 100 years earlier. William Bedford was 23 years old. He was killed by a lightning strike in 1909. And Andy Strones was killed by a lightning strike during a game, minor league game, the Crowley Millers in 1951. 24-year-old Andy Strong, I think he was playing the outfield. He was hit by lightning and killed during a game. Just, you never know. You never know how we're going to go. Now, here's a couple of strange ones, and these happened 3 different incidents, I believe. Yeah. Louis Freeland in 1885, Miguel Gonzalez in 1904, and Leo Smith in 1909. They all died the same way during a baseball game. Internal bleeding from a collision on the base path. Yeah, like I said, baseball's a violent game. You see broken bones all the time, concussions, horrific incidents and injuries. But to die during a game, or at least as a result of an injury during a game, these three guys, again, died from internal bleeding from a collision on the base path. Who knows whether they would have survived had they had modern medicine? Who knows? I got three more for you. Now, these are, to me, the strangest of the strange incidents, major league or minor league professional baseball players who died during their career. We'll start with Ben Myers. I can't figure this one out. He was a catcher, and I've tried to find details on this incident and could find nothing. So you just got to try and figure this out yourself. You know what a pass ball is. It's like a wild pitch. A wild pitch is where it gets away from the catcher, but it's a wild toss and blamed on the pitcher. But a pass ball, blamed on the catcher. Oops, got by me. Ben Myers, who was 20 years old, in 1890, I've been playing baseball a long time, he died from a broken neck during a passed ball. How is that possible? Your catcher, the ball gets, I don't know, it didn't say anything about a collision, he ran into anybody, a broken neck during a passed ball. I have no idea. Ben Myers. Robert Brown, I'm not laughing at death, it's just so bizarre. 1953, the 19-year-old baseball player, Robert Brown, was electrocuted, follow this, while erecting a foul pole. You know what a foul pole is on the left field side and the right field side, which separates foul territory from in play. Robert Brown died of electrocution while erecting a foul pole that fell on a power line. 1953. Wow. Okay, the last one, and this one, karma's a bitch. Ed Delaney. Now, Ed Delaney, look him up. He's a Hall of Famer. This happened in 1903. I mean, he was a real good ball player, one of the best. He was 35 years old, but still an active player for the Washington Senators. But he kind of went off the deep end, and then in more ways than one, he decided to go into Canada. I believe it was to look up his estranged wife or girlfriend. Who knows what that, but anyhow, he went up to Canada. On the way back, he's on the train, and he starts slamming shots of whiskey. And nothing good happens when you're slamming shots of whiskey, and that was the case. Big Ed Delaney had a little too much. He damaged, got a little crazy on the train, shattered a case that I think was held for drinks. Then he grabbed a woman in her berth, the train berth, by her feet and dragged her out of her berth. Then he was just raising hell on the train, and eventually the conductor said, no, we can't do this, Big Ed Delaney. You're out of here. We're getting out. I'm going to drop you off at Niagara Falls. Well, I've been to Niagara Falls a couple of times. Raquel and I have. Beautiful, but it's Niagara Falls. Ed Delaney, he's hammered. He gets off the train. He starts walking down International Falls Highway, bridge, International Falls Bridge, and he's staggering. Then what does he do? Hey, it's whiskey, man. He finds a constable, a cop, and picks a fight with him. That never ends well, guys. Don't pick a fight with a cop, especially when you're drunk on whiskey. And it's still to this day mysterious as to how it happened, whether the cop says, hey, I didn't push him. Did he just stumble and fall, or did he jump? But down he went into Niagara Falls and died of drowning. Big Ed Delaney. God rest his soul. In the Hall of Fame, but the Hall of Fame of strange deaths suffered by professional baseball players. Don't drink whiskey, pick a fight with a cop, and try and walk around Niagara Falls. It's not going to end well. So there you go. 13, I think, strange incidents of professional baseball players who died, and there are many, many others, but these are the strange ones. Tell me what you think. There's no good way to die. There's no funny way to die. But there are many, many strange ways. And I'm sure you've heard of equally strange incidents of deaths in the news, or maybe even somebody you know. So let me know. Love to read your comments. That's it for this edition of Coffee with the Goose. Thanks for joining me once again, and you guys take care.